27 Invisible Barriers for Women Leaders According to Research. When I was developing my dissertation study on the unwritten rules of work for people from low-income backgrounds, I researched what was already out there, and there wasn't much. But I did find one study from 2016 that investigated what are the invisible barriers for women leaders. There's been a reduction in explicit sexism. Like if you watch, Mad Men, it'll show you how explicit sexism was just a few decades ago. And there are certainly exceptions in this day. But these researchers and many women would tell you sexism didn't just go away, it got rebranded. So what does that look like? Well, the researchers did a literature review of all the existing literature on the subject and identified 12 barriers for women. And then they interviewed executive level women leaders and they found the rest of them. They categorized all 27 barriers into 3 different categories. They organized all 27 into 3 different levels: macro for societal level issues, meso for group or organizational level issues, and micro for individual ones. Go ahead and pause this video and see if any of these look familiar. I'll talk about a couple of them in more depth. At the top of the list for macro issues is controlling women's voices, such as restricting when and how they can contribute to the conversations. And the example quote is, "I want it to be more of a conversation, but the men have commented more than once that it feels to them like I'm interrupting them and I should wait until they're finished and then I can talk." An example of the meso that I also found in my unwritten rules study for people from low-income backgrounds is the devaluing of communal practice, which is also what I called the shift to independent values, which is the lack of acknowledgement, support, and respect for communal activities and organizations. Example quote, "My male colleague didn't like my management style because he thought that I was not forceful and demanding enough. My style is one of collaboration and really trying to come from a position of understanding a situation before I make a decision." And finally, a micro one is the queen bee effect, which I wasn't in my study on class, but I have talked about it a lot on here. When women at the top fail to help other women or actively prevent their promotions. One of the women I ended up working with there had a real problem with me. She called me in to talk and said, "I have trouble with this. Why does everyone like you? I don't really like you." I found myself being somewhat controlled again. I facilitated a study and it went well, and this woman didn't like it, so she blocked the next thing they asked me to do. I didn't code for this specifically in my study, but I have shared on here a quote before of my participants talking about this exactly happening. Are there any of these that you would like to see an in-depth of next? Statistically speaking, since this was interviewing executives and most women executives are white, I doubt there was much diversity in this in that sense. They did not look into class, which is again part of why my research is unique. If you don't see your unwritten rules here that you see at work, or you disagree with some of these, I would love to hear what yours are. I'm collecting data right now for my next round of research. The link is in my bio at the top there, and you'll click on the very first thing. Thanks in advance.